One clause turned owners into adversaries. In this video, we'll discuss the supplier rule that locked franchisees in, the lawsuits that ensued, and how a sandwich boom led to store closures and a fire sale. Let's break down the Quiznos contract trap. Imagine purchasing your dream franchise. You follow the playbook, open your doors, and hustle daily, yet you still can't make a profit because the contract you sign forces you to pay more for ingredients than the market rate. That isn't just bad luck, it's a flawed business model. Today, we'll look at Quiznos versus Subway and the single-supplier clause that quietly transformed Quiznos from partner to predator, triggered lawsuits, and contributed to the downfall of a once thriving brand. Why does this matter? If you're an entrepreneur considering a franchise, this video could save you 6 figures. We'll break down the mechanics of the clause, how it affected stores, why Subway managed to withstand similar challenges, and the series of events that led to lawsuits and closures, culminating in a fire sale. Stay until the end for a simple checklist you can apply to any franchise agreement. The problem. Many people believe that franchising guarantees safety, a proven brand, a tried and true menu, and effective marketing. However, the fine print can ensnare you. You bear all the risks, loans, leases, and payroll, while the franchisor extracts value first. If the contract locks your costs above market prices, you can work harder than anyone else yet still struggle financially. This is the experience that many Quiznos owners faced, and it was by design, not by accident. Act 1. Early growth, toasted subs, rocket fuel, and a blind spot. Quiznos wasn't always a cautionary tale. In the late 90s and early 2000s, the brand was thriving, literally. Toasted subs felt premium, and the stores were visually appealing. The brand expanded rapidly, tapping into mall traffic and office workers who sought better alternatives to soggy sandwiches. By the mid-2000s, Quiznos had thousands of locations. This growth appeared to be a victory lap, but beneath the surface, a structural trade-off existed. Aggressive franchising, rapid expansion brought in significant initial franchise fees. Mandatory purchasing. Franchisees were required to buy food, supplies, and even equipment from approved suppliers. While this was meant to ensure quality, it effectively created a toll booth. Rebates and markups. When a franchisor or its affiliates capture supplier rebates or direct margins, the brand profits regardless of the store's performance. This misalignment of incentives was built into the model. This was the blind spot. The faster Quiznos grew, the more it relied on extracting value from purchases rather than fostering healthy, profitable stores. In contrast, Subway was also expanding, but with a crucial distinction. Subway's large purchasing arm operates like a franchisee co-op, granting store owners leverage to reduce costs. Although Subway was still tough on owners in many ways, its food cost system was designed to scale with them, rather than against them. Takeaway from Act 1, 2 brands, similar products, but completely different incentive structures. Quiznos opted for a path that made growth appear impressive on franchise sales charts while secretly undermining unit economics. Act 2, the supplier and contract squeeze, the clause that turned partners into opponents. Here's the clause in plain English, free of legal jargon. You must buy from our approved suppliers, at our approved prices, even if you find the same items cheaper elsewhere. We can change vendors, prices, and specifications whenever we want. Oh, and we may receive payments from those suppliers. If you've never run a restaurant, that might sound manageable. However, let me break it down into the daily reality of a Quiznos owner. No escape hatch on the cost of goods. Your turkey, your bread, your sauces, your paper goods, everything must come through the franchisor's controlled pipeline. Even if the exact same turkey from the exact same plant is cheaper from a local distributor, the contract prohibits it. You have to pay the controlled price. Rebate opacity. If the brand or its affiliates earn rebates from suppliers, they may not pass those savings on to you. Imagine it like your landlord getting a cut from the electric company. Your bill increases, while their share is guaranteed. Margin squeeze math. In a sandwich shop, 2 numbers can determine your success: cost of goods sold and labor. If the cost of goods sold rises from, say, 28% to 34% due to enforced pricing, your profits disappear. Now add in rent, credit card fees, and a mandatory marketing fund contribution. Suddenly, you might find yourself paying just to keep the business running. Price wars you can't win. When Subway launched national promotions, like their famous value deals, Quiznos owners couldn't compete without incurring losses because their input costs were structurally higher. You can't sell a $5 sandwich if your turkey costs $6. Vendor dependence leads to speed traps. If an approved supplier encounters a problem, you can't pivot to an alternate source. You have to wait. Your shelves become empty. You either turn away customers or offer discounts, both of which can hurt your cash flow. This is a crucial turning point. The supplier clause isn't bad by itself. Most franchises have approved vendor lists to maintain consistency. The real issue is who benefits and how transparent the process is. In a franchisee-first model, purchasing power drives down prices, and savings go directly to stores. In contrast, in a franchisor-first model, the pipeline turns into a profit center, and the stores become merely a throughput, a captive audience. At scale, this distinction helps determine who survives during a price war, a recession, or a drop in foot traffic. Subway can go on the offensive, while Quiznos owners are stuck playing defense with heavier burdens. Think of two runners. Both are fast. One is allowed to buy shoes from anywhere and receives bulk discounts from a club she co-owns. The other is forced to buy shoes from a single store at full price, plus the store takes a cut. When they line up for a marathon, who do you think will perform better? Act 3, lawsuits, closures, and fire sale. When profit margins tightened, franchisees sought relief. Unfortunately, they didn't find it in their contracts, so they turned to the courts. Lawsuits alleged that Quiznos used its approved supplier system to overcharge stores and pocket rebates, while also collecting royalties and advertising fees. Regardless of whether every claim was proven, the message sent to the market was devastating: franchisees versus franchisor. This conflict destroys trust, an essential asset when selling new territories or renewing leases. Next came the closures. As the financial outlook for stores worsened, many began to shut down. Fewer stores lead to lower marketing impact, diminished brand relevance, and reduced purchasing volume, which can drive up supplier prices for the remaining locations. This creates a vicious cycle. Investors recognized this downward spiral, and valuations plummeted. That's when the fire sale began: debt restructurings, new ownership, balance sheet cleanups, actions that might stabilize a brand on paper but rarely restore the original network's strength. You can reduce debt, but rebuilding the trust of hundreds of local owners who invested their savings to open a store is much more difficult. Meanwhile, Subway continued to gain momentum, imperfect and sometimes controversial, but strategically aligned on the critical factor that can either support or undermine a sandwich shop: input costs. By organizing purchasing through a franchisee-controlled co-op, Subway maintained the flexibility to pursue lower prices and protect unit margins during promotional battles. Result? Quiznos, thousands of stores reduced to a fraction, brand equity diminished, changes in ownership, and a long recovery ahead. Subway, ongoing global expansion, an evolving menu, and significant leverage. What actually crushed Quiznos? It wasn't the toaster. It wasn't solely marketing. And it certainly wasn't just Subway's value deals. The real issue was the design of incentives. A mandatory supplier clause can work if the benefits are passed on to owners through a lower cost of goods sold and clear transparency. However, if the franchisor profits more when franchisees pay higher prices, the franchisor's interests become misaligned with those of the franchisees. When pressure mounts, that misalignment turns into a significant divide. Practical checklist before signing a franchise deal. Purchasing governance. Who controls the buying co-op? Are franchisees voting members? Is there transparency regarding rebates? Rebate policy. Are all supplier rebates passed to owners? Is this documented? Vendor flexibility. Is there a process for local substitutions if prices rise or suppliers fail? Unit economics. Request historical food costs, labor costs, and EBITDA margins. Refusal to share is a warning sign. Encroachment and pricing. Can the brand run promotions that hurt your margins? Who bears the cost when prices drop? Survival scenarios. Ask what happens to costs if 20% of locations in your region close. If unanswered, you may bear the burden. Save this checklist. It could protect your life savings. The story of Quiznos versus Subway highlights the importance of governance. Well-designed incentives create a supportive flywheel, while flawed contracts can be detrimental regardless of product quality. If this video helped you understand the business behind the brand, you'll love the next episode. Pizza Hut versus Domino's, the delivery decisions that won the market. Tap subscribe so you don't miss it, and leave a comment with the next rivalry you'd like to see analyzed.